Live service video games, or games as a service, continue to be a controversial point in a year where some games are getting billion-dollar investments and some are collapsing mere days after launch. Sony's Concord is the latest in a long line of unsuccessful live service video games that cost a fortune to make but don't succeed in the marketplace. And there's a lot of reasons to this. What we're looking at is much more of a business case study than just overly emotional headlines and tweets. There's a lot to unpack here and understand, like why this? Why did Concord fail, but Fortnite continues to go strong? Is it because of a woke agenda? Is that it? Is it the wokesters at it again? Is that the only reason why a game that cost $200 million to make collapsed in under 2 weeks of launch? Or perhaps we should look at this from another angle. Are live service games worth your investment? Hello, my friends, and welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, where we're posting new videos nearly every day. Well, firstly, what the heck is a live service game, and how is it different from any other regular game? Live service games are designed to be continually updated with new content and features to keep players engaged and routinely logged in. Games like Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, and Destiny 2 have thrived under this model, attracting millions of players worldwide to continually find reason to log in weekly or even daily. Milestones and challenges have time limits, purchasable items have time limits, and thematic seasons come and go often. To not be logged in and participate during these events means you miss out on these unlockables that may never return. This also means that the business will need to keep creating content for this game, requiring steep investment from the company itself. While we don't have definitive numbers, from my research, we can speculate that skins in Fortnite cost anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 to develop per skin. In Overwatch, it's estimated that each skin costs anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. I would love to see the hard evidence of these costs myself, but for now, this is all speculation. But let's take this speculation at face value. Fortnite averages around 10 to 15 character skins per game season. And if each one were to cost an estimated average of $50,000 to make, that's close to $500,000 per set of character skins per season. We, of course, didn't factor in all the other skins for weapons, new add-ons, maps, development, design, function, implementation, testing. There are many other variables applied to the development of content for every season in these live service games. Multiply it out. It's gonna be a hefty investment. So the live service model comes with significant risk, both to the players and the companies making the game. The company risks monetary investment to keep the game going, and the players risk investing their time and money buying into a game that could have its plug pulled at any time for any reason. Consider the idea of pouring countless hours into something, spending all that money, only to face losing everything if the company makes some bad calls and goes belly up. That's the live service reality. Players have invested 20 years of real-life, real-world time into playing games like World of Warcraft. And while WoW certainly isn't going away anytime soon, imagine if it did. All those folks would watch all those years go poof, gone. A scary thought. And of course, we've seen this happen before. The live service model is inherently unstable, though it's not often that a widely successful game gets the plug pulled. Games like Anthem, Square Enix's Avengers, Babylon's Fall, all saw some sort of monetary success at first, but after player count diminished, so did the game's listings on storefronts. Just this year, we've seen the launch and quick failure of Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Rocksteady, who was previously well known and revered for their work on the Batman Arkham game series, faced harsh criticism through their development and launch of Suicide Squad. When it was revealed at PlayStation's State of Play in February 2023 that Kill the Justice League would require always being connected to the internet in order to play the game, it was met with harsh criticisms from the customer base. There was very little demand for, firstly, a Suicide Squad game, and secondly, for it to be live service based. On top of that, the entire concept of killing the Justice League, which are beloved characters worldwide, is not something the market wanted either. After nearly a decade of repetitive content focusing on Superman being a villain, it's no surprise why the all-star Superman meme took off the way it did. Side note, this is one of the reasons James Gunn's approach is that Superman is a good guy, like a goody two-shoes, in his upcoming film. Personally, I'm here for it. Superman stands as an ideal of hope. Let's get back to that. And after some major delays, moving the game from an initial launch of 2022 to February 2024, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League finally released and quickly fizzled out. Seeing a near 92% decline in PC players within the first month. 14,000 players is not exactly something to write home about either, especially when it costs $200 million to make. And if killing your favorite heroes wasn't enough, Rocksteady would release questionable choices of DLC characters for purchase that, well, again, nobody wanted. A strange bisexual Joker and a non-binary Mr. or Mrs. Freeze would be the final nails in this game's coffin, leaving Rocksteady a shattered development studio. And that bridges us into what happened very publicly on September 3rd, 2024. Sony, the owner of the controversial hero shooter Concord, pulled the plug on the game after only 2 weeks of the live service being available to the public. Concord was announced at the PlayStation Showcase in May 2023. At the time, we knew very little about what the final product would be or look like. Then we'd get a gameplay trailer and a very long-winded cinematic for the game on June 6th, 2024, where people quickly realized this was a derivative of both Guardians of the Galaxy and a derivative of Overwatch. Team-based hero shooters are not new to the marketplace. They're expensive to make and require lots of active players to keep the games going. It became clear that that was going to be a problem through the summer of 2024 when the game's open and closed betas did not have nearly enough players to sustain consumer interest. The game would launch on August 23rd to the tune of $39.99, only to be taken offline 2 weeks later on September 6th. What happened here? Why did this game fail? Well, many online would have you believe that it's exclusively because of a woke agenda at the game's core development, that the character options are woke, and that's why no one bought it. And that's probably a good piece of the puzzle, yes. Like, that's part of it. It's certainly not all of it, but look at these characters. Can you say a wide audience with a greater than a $200 million valuation is going to want to play characters that look like this? Who is this game for, you know? And yes, it's very hard to dip into these points because it becomes more about emotion than statistical fact. So let's look at the facts. Concord cost $200 million to make. Concord was meant to be the Overwatch killer. Overwatch is a hero shooter focusing on specific characters with backstory lore and job roles during gameplay. Overwatch is woke. If we're using the same logic of defining woke as characters highlighting diversity of race, culture, and creed, then Overwatch is absolutely woke. But the character designs in Overwatch, while still being woke, are extremely more appealing to the eye than Concord's characters. It's preference, but hey, if not even 1,000 people bought this on PC, could it be because the people cared about what the characters looked like? Is that a factor? Are we allowed to point that out? Because I'm gonna point it out. But hey, Wizard, it's a first-person shooter. Who cares what the characters look like? Amazing question. Allow me to dismantle it. Everyone cares. And by everyone, I mean 85% of United States gamers know about cosmetics, skins, and costumes. And in the US, 43% of all gamers claim they use skins to change the appearance of their avatars, characters, weapons, and vehicles. In Fortnite alone, from a study in 2020 of 1,000 players, 77% of them bought cosmetics with an average spend of $84.17. That was in 2018, which rose 21% to an average of $102 by 2020. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of money, with Gen Z being the biggest culprit of cosmetics use in games like this. Well, why do people care so much? It's the same thing as why you favor Alexis or a Mercedes over a Hyundai or a Kia. It's why you go for the Frosted Flakes and not the knockoff corn shapes. It's the more expensive bottle of wine you order at the table when you want to impress the guests. Vanity. It's a vanity, mostly. People care what they look like. They want the coolest thing. They want the most valuable thing, and they want to wear it and show it off. They want their friends, the family, and strangers to know that they've got the goods, that they can afford the best, and they don't have to settle. It's marketing. It's a feeling of desirability. It's the reason why Fortnite continues to dominate the video game industry every single month. They have the best skins and team-ups with brands and influencers that make people say, I want that. Vanity purchases drive the Fortnite market. And aftermarket. Did you know there's a marketplace for people to trade skins for real-life money? I didn't know until I started researching for this video. And here's what the CEO of the aftermarket site has to say. In-game skins are a key part of most video games and are the backbone of gaming metaverses. Built on cosmetics, platforms such as Fortnite and Roblox are becoming a crossroads between games, brands, influencers, esports teams, and fans. There's entirely new industries popping out of fake, not real video game skins and cosmetics. And you wanted to ask why people cared about how the Concord goons looked? Because looks are everything. Put the Concord characters next to the Overwatch guys again. Overwatch has an art style of cartoonishness, and Concord leans into that hyper-realism look, which just furthers the argument that it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie derivative. But okay, like I said, this is only one part of the equation. Looks matter. The looks of these characters was not enough to generate sales. What else went wrong? Even Paul Tassi, who keeps finding himself on that lonely hill defending Concord, agrees that the oversaturation of this hero shooter market contributed to Concord's failure. There are an estimated 2 million annual Overwatch players. There are an estimated 650 million Fortnite accounts with 1.1 million daily players. Rainbow Six Siege is sitting around 50,000 players right now today. There are already plenty of other options for PvP shooter games that are Battle Pass and free to play. Just this year alone, there will be 4 direct Overwatch clones: Star Wars Hunters, Marvel Rivals, Valve's Deadlock, and Sony's Concord. At some point you have to wonder, is enough yet? Overwatch has legacy. Star Wars Hunters has the Star Wars IP. Marvel Rivals has the Marvel IP. I don't know anything about Deadlock except for the name, but think, why would I choose to purchase Concord for $40 when I know and recognize all of the others? See, that's the mindset most would be in, and the purchase point is the next factor. Many of these games can be installed on Nintendo Switch, iPhone, Samsung tablet, iPad, computer, console, you name it, you can install it, and usually for zero money down. They're free. They're all free. And they're accessible. Concord costs $40, had no recognizable characters or any that were appealing, and you needed to be on either a PS5 or a computer to play it. In a game genre that thrives in the areas of accessibility, and you wonder why sales were low. This is once again a business decision from people on high who don't know what market they're making their product for. In the course of 8 years, the first time we got any gameplay for it that I can track down was at the State of Play on June 6th of this year, which means you didn't even give this game the chance for the market to get interested in it. And you announce it with a dull cinematic in the same showcase as a Marvel competitor. Why did Concord fail? Because the C-suite executives calling the shots have no idea who they're selling their products to. They have no idea who the real-world customer is. You at home, you're just a statistic to them. They don't know or care about what you actually want or what your values actually are. Let's look at the gameplay itself. On launch day, you had people reporting long loading time to get into matches. Yes, that's because there weren't enough players, but crank up the bots at that point. Try to give the buyers some kind of experience, something to Jenga. The maps were too big and took too long to get around. And you had more people playing in the generic deathmatch game mode than any of the other modes that would warrant playing a job-specific character. What's the point in focusing on a support role when it's just a generic deathmatch? The job-specific characters require coordination and teamwork to work. Deathmatch is just going to be a free-for-all of people running around, like how Overwatch on day one was. Remember that? Remember Overwatch on day one in 2016? I do. I was the Bastion that ran directly into the enemy and got killed instantly. Point being, regardless of the reported in-depth lore and story they were hedging to foster, the game itself, as refined as it was, just was not enough to convert sales. People are fickle now and extremely apathetic. It takes a lot to generate interest and trust and then purchase. You need to do more work now to get a customer than ever before, and much of that is rooted in developing trust. From the marketing world, on average, you need to get someone to look at your brand 13 times before they even begin to consider whether or not to buy. 13 times before someone gives you a New York minute. That's about 7 seconds. Concord's failure is the most expensive flop in gaming history, costing Sony $200 million, if not more, and giving the Western gaming industry another black eye in a year filled with constant right hooks. I think the decision to pull the game so soon is an indication of how much you can trust Sony right now. Whether for good or for bad, I will let you consider that yourself. But I'd like to leave you with one thing. Consider deeply the types of games you're playing. If you're playing a live service game, be it World of Warcraft or Fortnite, what happens to all your hours invested when the company or the company that buys that company pulls the plug on something you've spent actual days of your life playing? What happens then? My friends, I want to thank you for joining me for this Pondering special. If you would, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, create, innovate, inspire. May the Force be with you. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a horrible streaming service. You don't need it. Bye-bye.